What's up, everyone? So, just walking around here, and I was listening to this video series by a famous astrologer, Debra Silverman, who's very knowledgeable and very good astrologer. And it's this introduction. It's like this video series where she sends you 3 free videos. The first one talks about all the planets, the main ones. The second one's about Mars and how it has to do with masculine energy. Very interesting. And the third one's about Jupiter, which, me being extremely Jupiterian with the Pisces Sun, Sagittarius Moon, which are the 2 Jupiter ruled planets, it was really cool to hear that perspective. And I know she's just teaching it. And in her class, she says the most important things are the planet, understanding the planet, the sign, and the house. And it's good. It's a simplified way of looking at astrology. By understanding those, you're getting the meat and bones of what astrology is, right? The planet is the what. Each planet has a different function. It's a different part of our personality. She had like a metaphor of like each planet, like if you were like this council meeting around a table, like it was something like that, like each planet being a different member, and then the sign it's in is kind of the filter of what that planet looks like for you, right? The sign, like the Zodiac sign, if you have Mars, and Mars being like the assertiveness part of you, the part of you that wants to go get, to be active. If that's in a fire sign, you're going to have that part of you being very prominent. Well, if it's in a water sign, you're going to have that part of you being a bit more weighed down and have a harder time announcing its needs, but maybe having a lot more emotional, kind of putting your action will be oriented in a way more emotional place. And the one thing I thought that, and I know it's like she's probably just, as a very, very good teacher, and just not trying to like complicate people's brains. But in my view, the most important thing, like just as important as all those, and also I forgot to mention that the house is like what area of the sky it was in. It has to do with the where. So the houses, if you've heard of like 7th house sun, like house mentioned in astrology, that has to do with an area of life. So if you have a planet in a certain house, each house has to do with a certain area of life. It has a set of different meanings. Like the 7th house is the house of marriage. The 10th house is the house of career, outer life. Like some people say spirituality. 3rd house is like siblings, like immediate environments. There's like tons of different meanings for each house, right? But and that's cool. That's like knowing those ones, like I said, will give you a very good, firm, basic understanding of astrology. You'll be able to like know a lot about your chart. But the biggest thing for me is aspects, because I've seen in so many people how aspects, which is, I talked about them a lot in here, that's like an example. The 3 most important types are conjunctions, where there's 2 planets close together, squares, where they're 90 degrees away, or oppositions, where 2 planets are 180 degrees away. And all of those 2, the squares and oppositions, when you look at your chart on astro.com, they look like red aspects, and they're known as challenging aspects. It's not bad. There's no good or bad in astrology, but they're challenging. It means that when you have more red more red lines on your chart, that it's harder. If you think of your chart as mastering your chart as like being a means of like opening up yourself to your true psyche, or to your true full identity, full version of yourself, the person that has more red lines is going to have a harder time doing that. There's going to be more things to break through. Also, you could say the same about retrograde planets in certain cases too. But anyways, so in my experience doing people's charts, I've seen that one aspect, like I was talking to a follower of mine the other day, or yesterday, and she was asking me about her astrology, and I saw that she had like her moon conjunct Neptune and Uranus. She had her Mars conjunct Saturn. She had an exact trine with her Pluto and her Venus, like a square with her Mercury Neptune. Like these are all so important, because like they give those little bits of information that really differentiate people and really can lead to the deepest psychological healing that you can get from astrology from a psychological standpoint. In that example, obviously I'm not going to say this person's name, the square with Neptune and Mercury is how you think. So you have Neptune, which creates delusions and dreams, and kind of like when it's squaring, which is like a meaning that there's tension between 2 planets, it can create someone whose mind is very, very active and intuitive and artistic, but also who can be prone to paranoia, who can be prone to thinking things that aren't there. Maybe it affects their relationships negatively because they might just like have some ideas of something that's happened that's not happening, right? And then having Saturn and Mars, like your Mars is your assertiveness function, and having Saturn, which is the planet that limits and holds you back, on the planet of action, no matter what sign your Mars is in. I mean, yeah, it can be affected differently if it's like a Capricorn Mars or something like that, but like it's gonna in some way probably inhibit your ability to feel like you can go forward. You might feel like, you know, it's a conjunction, so a square and opposition will be a lot worse. So it actually does depend a lot more on the sign, like, but Mars, Saturn together contacts, especially the opposition, in the square, will make you feel like you're going, like you made progress, but then it gets pulled back. So just looking at those few aspects for that one person, it's like that can tell you so much about your key issues. So that's where I think aspects give the most insight. They give the most insight into like what quirks of you need work, what quirks of you, and then if it's like trines and sextiles, which are where it's a 60 degree or 120 degree angle between two planets, that's like kind of like natural talents. Like some of them are things that just like you have in yourself that you don't even, that are so naturally a part of you that you don't even really notice, while others are, and like examples are like just like talents that just seem so innate that like other people are like, wow, you have so much of this, and like when you hear that you're like, well, duh, you know, you don't even really think about it. And other ones are just planets that flow well together, that just have a harmonious relationship. It's like you know, like we're having like a grand trine is having like three planets that are all creating a triangle with trines. So it's like they're all building off each other and having this massive strength all in the same element, right? And that's called an aspect pattern, is when you have like a grand trine, or like there's a number of different names for different combinations that create geometrical alignments in your chart. So everything's affecting itself in astrology, and aspects really, like once you master the sign, like the planets, the sign, and the houses, it's really all about the aspects. And like I can just tell people, just like when I'm doing readings with clients, I'll tell them, I'll be like, okay, this is something you should research further, because there's articles and articles about the main aspects, you know, like about every single aspect, you know. Like for me, learning about Sun square Jupiter has been life-changing, because it talked about my, you know, already having a lot of Jupiter energy. It's basically saying that I have too much Jupiter energy. Jupiter energy, when you have too much, manifests itself in overspending, in overpartying, in being overly expansive. It's like the energy of the guy who walks into the casino and thinks like, no matter what, I'm gonna win, and takes too many risks and then ends up losing. So that's kind of just some interesting points about aspects. I'm just really just trying to explain that, like, once you've mastered, if I were to teach a class on astrology, it would be like mastering, like kind of how Debra Silverman had it, like those first three of the signs, the houses, and the planets first, then signs and houses, seeing how they're all related, and then understanding how to find the main aspects. And then after that, you learn about predictive astrology and how the transiting planets are affecting your natal chart, like how you can feel like a completely different person 1 year from the next based on what's happening. Like I've had so many clients lately who, wow, I look really red and white. This is weird. But yeah, I've had so many clients lately who are feeling so much distress with the energy right now, and I am never surprised to find that a lot of these people have either their moon, their sun, or one of their personal planets, which are the ones that are closer to the, like, you know, the inner planets, everything from Saturn within, or more from like Jupiter within. Those ones that have something close to 18 to 22 Capricorn or Cancer or Aries, or not Aries, or what's the square? Capricorn. Yeah, Aries or Libra. Those ones, because those are the ones that are square the Capricorn. What's going on with Pluto and Saturn right now? So it's no surprise, and that's really the next step after you learn about the natal stuff, is understand the predictive stuff. So anyways, I hope this video was helpful in any way to anyone, and have a great day. Thank you.